Welcome to your public relations flagship program, Your Image, the first public relations program in Africa. Kudos to Ogtv. Today we are continuing with the topic new curriculum on skill acquisition. We related last week that the Minister for Education came up with a new skill acquisition program, and that is supposed to be all around Nigeria in secondary and primary school. And we narrated how prepared the government is, how the stakeholders have been engaged and all that. Well, when we look at the historical balance of what we discussed, we will be going ahead to now look at the new approach to engendering this new curriculum. And I have the opportunity to also welcome my comrade Dr. Abeokuta Felix Oluwaseun, who is the Ogun State Chapter Chairman of the Association of Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools, yes, in Ogun State.
Thank you, sir.
Glad to welcome you.
Thank you, my viewer, sir.
I also like to welcome Adebori, who has been a coach for Teach for Nigeria. That's a platform where the young ones are being integrated into the teaching kind of academies, so to say. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad to welcome him back this week. Comrade, I'm going to start with you.
Yes, sir.
We've been talking about this policy that is being introduced. How should the states connect, and what do you prefer that they should begin to do so that we can have each free execution of this program?
Thank you, sir. Our Nigeria, we operate with the federal system of government. So everything that comes from the federal comes back to the state. And I'm quite aware of that the Assistant Commissioner for Education do meet at least once a month with the Federal Minister of Education. And when they meet, they discuss about policies, how to analyze the policy from federal to the state level. Don't forget the curriculum. When any curriculum is being set out, it binds on everybody. So the states will now look for a way to implement what the federal government has said. So my advice to all the states in Nigeria is that they should make sure that they synthesize the curriculum very well and see whether the curriculum will be well implemented in their state, because we have individual defense in the state. And that's why most of us are clamoring that this obnoxious 18 years of age of student writing work should be ruled out of the curriculum, so that we will not tell our children to be backward again. We want our children to be progressing. We don't want them to be retrogressing. You get me, sir? So the state should now look for ways to look for means to analyze all this curriculum very well. And that's why, according to we stakeholders, the introduction of the new curriculum, we are not in agreement with it, because it is an obnoxious policy.
What is the area of friction?
The area of friction is that they have not yet evaluated the past curriculum. Okay. Like I told you last week, the past curriculum has yet to be evaluated. Have we properly implemented past curriculum?
Is there a blueprint?
Is there a blueprint for the past? There was a blueprint when it started now. That was why they introduced the three subjects. How effective are three subjects being implemented in our schools? How many personnel do we have teaching these three subjects? That's it. And number two, do we have enough innovation materials to teach these three subjects in our schools? How many states can vouch that they can easily employ personnel to teach all these three subjects in their schools, in their states? And how many states can say boldly that they are happy with this pledging of 18 years to write WAEC? It is backwardness. That's not part of. That's not part of progress.
Probably we need to be futuristic, and because if we do not accept a change, we may not have a new innovation around us. Well, thank you so much, Adebori. Talking about the Teach for Nigeria as an entity, you are practically interested in changing the mood, changing the approach. How do you see, or which way forward to changing the approach in ensuring that the students are able to learn faster, are able to have a change of environment, are able to embrace technology and the like? What are your...
Okay. Yeah, so as an organization, Teach for Nigeria is a non-governmental organization. And one of the things that we pride ourselves in is the way we approach the issue of educational inequity. So as it stands in Nigeria, there is a lot of statistics around the current state of education. What do we have currently? The United Nations said that in Africa alone, we have about 6 million teachers deficit, I think, or thereabouts. Millions, yeah, teachers. So it is not even a Nigerian problem alone. But what we are doing is we have our contextualized vision. So the vision is to ensure that we support students to be able to have an excellent education, a quality education that prepares them for the future. And now this future that we're talking about is not even about learning a particular trade, learning this one, learning woodwork, learning carpentry. So we want them to be able to stand for themselves, develop critical skills that they need to be able to make decisions for themselves. Now, something that is very important is that if a child develops in an area whereby the only thing they see is drivers, conductors, fashion designers, hairdressing, saloon, and all that. If you ask that child what does that child want to become, 95% of them will tell you one of those things. I've been a teacher. I mean, of course, I'm still a teacher anyway. So, and I remember talking to my learners then in primary 2, what do you want to become? And all they were saying is, okay, I want to be this, I want to be that. Until I had to take them on a virtual trip. I showed them things that are happening all around the globe. I told them, a child was telling me about the fact that, okay, I want to be a conductor. He said, why? I said, yes, that's what my dad is doing. That is what my uncle is doing. They have reasons why they are saying that. Until I showed them exposure, that is where I'm going. So but until I show them that these things, in fact, there is very soon there will not be need for drivers because we are having autonomous cars that are driving itself. There is no need for a conductor because there are ride-hailing apps. You can order for a ride from the comfort of your home. So all these things open their eyes to the fact that there is more. So that is exactly what we are doing. We are giving children, as students, we are giving them an opportunity to see beyond their immediate environment. And there is something that Comrade said last week, which is very, very practical, which we also do. We ensure that we contextualize learning. We ensure that our learners are able to use what is in their environment to learn. Before, you see some mathematics textbooks that will be talking about, we are in Nigeria, we are in Yoruba land. And then you have them seeing some foreign names, seeing them working in dollars, like, okay, this one, Sunday has $15. It'd be like, how will a child in Nigeria, in a local community, be talking about dollars? He does not need it. So they need to practicalize their education, and they need to be able to relate what they are learning to what is really happening in the community. Now, there is something that the government is working on now, which is also worthy of note. They said they are trying to develop digital literacy, and that is very, very important because we are getting into the digital era. And even the United Nations have added digital inclusion. So it is now, it's no more 17 SDGs anymore, it's now 17+1. So because they believe that digital literacy is very important. We want to be able to see kids that can actually compete wherever they are. And that is what we are working on as an organization.
Yeah, thank you so much. Comrade.
Yes, sir.
Something I stayed in my mind when we were talking about the environment the other time. Can we begin to visualize, and since you are also part of the leaders that we look onto, to shape or reshape learning, the environment, and then gravitating into a scientific environment. What will you as a form of exposure, bring back to Nigeria to say, look, our authorities must do this to engender proper integration of this new skill we are talking about with the old approach that has been in existence. How will you also see collaboration of institutions who are technology based and some other things with a way to providing a better environment for our children, and then even teachers in the same vein?
Thank you so much. I love that one. How will I be able to provide solution to the environment? Number one, what do you call education? Education, according to Ototin Duka, 1972. So education starts from the cradle to the grave. But from what say education involves learning from the birth till you die. And Oyeyinka David says education is a means of living. Now, if I want to come in with those three definitions, education means that it's a continuous something.
Okay.
Nobody can say he has learned everything up at a time. You learn day by day, you learn gradually until you die. So when we talk about formal education, that you are talking about formal education now, how do you impart knowledge? Rather through the way how we have understood it. Now that's why we are talking about personnel. The personnel that want to implement the policy must be the professionals, not the quack. I've said it, that teachers are not quack. There are difference between teachers and quack. Quack are those that went to university because they can't get any job and they want to get a job. They went back to school and go and force themselves to have one education degree or the other, like PGD and the rest. They are not educationists. So education are those that went in there, they know that I want to be an educationist. I was there to study from NCE, for a degree, from a master's, and to my PhD level. I can say boldly that I'm an educationist. So if you have everybody that study English language art, and that comes back to come and teach English language in the secondary school, that person it's not an educationist. He was frustrated out of job. That's why he came to teach. So how that person will teach cannot compare to how I will teach. But when I study English language,
I hope that is not sentiment.
No, that's not sentiment. It's about professionalism. Now come about professionalism. Let me give you a very good example.
I have to say that because
wait, let me give you a good example. We are on live now.
Okay.
We have engineers with TV. Some went to school purposely to go and study radiography or camera. How to do camera? Some study went there to go and study and that was degree in it. You can't compare them with someone that went to somewhere else to study maybe theater art. And because of frustration, they said, I need a job. They not give me the job of being handling camera. You will see potential between the two of them. Now, someone that did education will know how to impart knowledge because he will have been taught how to understand psychology of those children. What do you call Montessori? What do you call Montessori system of education? Is how to teach children, whether a child is dullard, and there's no child that is a dull child. It's a teacher that doesn't know how to do it. If someone can do that, I can read today, and that person is a liar. Because I failed out, as I told you last week, I did my exam for 9 times. But by those 9 years, I was roaming the street around. And I continued doing work. But the 10th time when I would do it, and I passed.
But how many of the people will still be focused?
Thank you.
They will trace their steps. Don't let us go into that.
Because let me tell you something. As educationists, we must have that passion. Our passion is to impact life. Somebody imparted my life that you can go back to school. Reverend Kashade, by the time from FCE, told me I can go back to school. And I went back to write work again, and I passed my work. Now to impart knowledge is just use professionalism. When you see teachers that I want to impart it, you see them starting with love and understanding. Educationists will do it. That's why some of us are against this Professor Mama policy. You say it's gathered some stakeholders. What are the stakeholders that gather together?
Okay, let me take you to another lane. The issue of professionalism has to do with exposure.
Yes.
And professionalism is not limited to teaching, it's not limited to science, it's not limited to various fields of endeavor.
Yes, sir.
And we have found out that for a particular system to work perfectly, you need a blend of this and a blend of that.
You're right.
So, in having that, you need people who are also exposed into other relevant professions, or call it courses, to impact more knowledge.
Yes, sir.
So, can we all be teachers?
Thank you. Professionalism, we have said it, we need more people to do it. That's why we call it collaboration. Like my brother is an anchorman for Teach for Nigeria. It's not only teachers that are coming to teach these people. We have some personnel that are coming there to expose them to so many things in the world. Now, when we do our part as professionals, we invite others also to come and do their own part. That's what I call it. That's why the counseling comes in school. Do you know we have counselors that are there, they are not teachers, but they are to know the life of the students, to counsel them.
Okay, what sort of training and other capacity building approaches will you suggest?
To what?
Okay, for teachers to imbibe, so that this new policy can take proper shape.
Excuse me, sir. Don't talk about this policy has not yet been accepted by the stakeholders.
We are looking to the future.
And don't look at the future. The future, if you want to tell us that the life of our children should be subsidized, teachers will not accept this policy, that there's a quack policy.
Adebori, with your level of exposure,
how can you tell our students to sit down at home after 16 years? Why can't their policy start from primary 1 now? Anyone that wants to get to primary school must be 6 years old.
No, let's leave the issue of...
Adebori said something last week. He said, if a child starts from primary school, he said most of them, they do their graduation abroad. That's what you tell them. At what year are you already graduating? A child of 9, 10 years old. Let's leave that area so that you can... you can't guide that because you said about the policy. And that's what I'm telling you that policy cannot stand.
All right. Adebori,
okay.
From your experience so far, particularly why the Teach for Nigeria scheme was brought about, what will you impact on us that is changing the dynamics?
Okay, so we have our own impact, and we call it the monitoring and evaluation team, and we have been witnessing increase in the literacy level, literacy rate, the numeracy rate, and all that. In fact, we did a survey. We had to call in people from another country, and then they did a survey, and they discovered that teachers, the students that are taught by Teach for Nigeria fellows, they have between 3 to 5 months extra learnings. We call it 3 to 5 months extra learning gains. Okay. So that means that they have more opportunity to be able to get better at what they are doing around their literacy, numeracy, and science. However, looking beyond this, we are also much more interested in helping them to be able to take decisions for themselves. That is what we are looking at. So, and to a particular point, I really agree with what you have said around the training of the teachers. The people that are going to implement this, there is something we do. We call it system thinking. So, in our effort at leading the nation, we start with leading ourselves, to be able to lead ourselves, because there's a saying which is very true, that you cannot give what you don't have. Then we move to the level of leading others. Now, leading others talks about systems thinking. How do we see beyond what we are looking at? For instance, we are talking about this curriculum review. Of course, to an extent, the people that came up with this, probably they were only looking at it from the angle of, okay, yes, skill acquisition is being talked about all over the world. They've gone for a particular training and they felt, okay, let's implement it in our country. But there's something we do which is very unique. We call it systems mapping. We look at it from our stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders that are involved? This stakeholders mapping involves looking at the mission critical stakeholders, the important and the nice to have. Now, if we are looking at it from the angle of curriculum review, we will see that even the students themselves, they are also supposed to be part of curriculum review, because they are the ones that will be using it. We are using it on them. Just imagine you are planning something out of the teachers, out of the students themselves. Just be like, now, coming to, I believe that another thing that the government is also looking at is, yes, this is Gen Z, and then the Gen Z, they are different in terms of how they learn. They learn so fast, especially when it comes to all these digital skills and all that. Now, if the government is going to be doing that, I asked the question. In fact, I was expecting him to talk about, okay, as associate chairman, probably they've done some trainings for them on the curriculum review. This is what they are supposed to do. They brought in materials. Maybe they bring in more personnel to talk to them. But this has not been done. And as an organization, in fact, yesterday we had about 7 weeks of training for our fellows that we are placing in schools to teach, to support the teachers and to ensure that. So we have about 500 fellows that are coming into schools in Ogun State and Lagos. And we also have our SLDs, the current head of schools, education officers and all that. So we believe that our work is systemic. Fighting educational inequity is hard. So it is not something that we just look at it from one particular angle. We need to consider everyone involved. As we are looking at the students, we also need to look at the teachers. We also need to look at their parents too. Because are the parents even ready? There was a time they implemented a particular policy, I think in Ogun State here, where they said students should be staying in school. I think it's for secondary school. I think it's on Wednesday or so. There's a particular day of the week that they ask them to be staying in school beyond 2 o'clock, maybe till 4, learning different things and all. But because it was still planned, we see that thing is not really working. So these are some of the things that we are working on. So before we come up with a plan, we plan it and we look at how it is going to work.
Thank you very much. Well, very explicit. Comrade, just 30 seconds. Are the teachers ready for the new scheme, the new of reorientation?
Thank you so much.
Things.
Teachers are ever ready to go and learn. They are ready to change things, and they are ready to implement the change. But what we are trying to say is that our change should be practical. It should be systematic. Not somebody just looking up in the day and saying your change has started.
Teachers are ready. They are focused. And they are ready to engender result-oriented environment for government. So government on its part too should provide enabling environment, should provide materials, should provide manpower development, and engender adequate funding to ensure that that is success for this new vocational skill that we are talking about. It is on that note that we are going to end this chat. It's been a wonderful moment with Comrade Dr. Abeokuta, Felix. It's on that note that I, Abeokuta, your uncle, on your image, is saying bye for now.